something, we'd be happy to do that. Also would love for you to come visit with us sometime if you're ever in the Pontiac area. We are looking today at sound doctrine. This is something that we don't see happening in our neck of the woods, how shall we say, especially, I mean, the United States. But we see a lack of sound doctrine. And a lot of stuff that is not correct, is not theologically correct, biblically correct, or any other way, has become very popular. And we see in 2 Timothy chapter 3, starting at verse 3, Paul says this, "For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions, and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths." We have people who are willing to listen to what they want to listen to. That's the way we are. We want to hear people who agree with us. And we want people who will teach us what we want to hear. I've read profiles from churches about wanting pastors. You kind of learn how to read between the lines. Pastor who preaches the Bible. Well, what's that really mean? No, that means tell us what we want to hear. Tell us what we already think we know. Pastors are not supposed to do that. No, we're supposed to preach the gospel. We are to exhort scriptures. We are to, and there is a right way to divide the scriptures. Scripture plainly says, you're to rightly divide it, so that means you can also wrongly divide it. There's a lot of that going on. No, Scripture interprets Scripture. We exhort it. We let the Scripture come out. We don't try to eisegete and make it say what we want or find some type of a thing that to make the Scripture match to. A lot of that going on in the end time stuff. But no, there is a time. People have what? They want to hear what they want to hear. They will not endure sound doctrine. They will not endure it. Because again, it's not as fun to hear that you're supposed to die with Christ. You take up your cross each day and follow Jesus. And that you're supposed to deny yourself and follow Jesus. And that Jesus does all the work in salvation. Not so fun to hear all that. But it's a lot of fun to hear other things, to hear what you want to hear. So again, the next time you think, well, the pastor's just kind of being boring. Well, no, he's trying to teach you the Scripture. And you need to have pastors who understand Scripture, who have studied Scripture. Hear a lot of people, they don't want an educated pastor. Well, boy, ain't that something? I want an educated pastor. Well, they don't believe in anything. No, they don't just regurgitate stuff that you think might be. No, we've got to have sound doctrine. They accumulate for them teachers. This is why a lot of the people on TV are so popular. It's not that they're very good teachers. It's not that they even have sound doctrine. But they'll tell you what you want to hear. They'll stick their finger up in the air, and whatever the way the wind is blowing, they will tell you. Again, they turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths. I want to leave you with this. There was and some of you may remember this gentleman. He was a longtime congressman, Mr. Paul. He is Rand Paul's father, who is a senator. He's run for president several times. He was a libertarian. And when he gave his retirement speech, he said that I never believed that it would be such a hard sell to sell freedom and liberty, because he wanted people to be self-sufficient and do it on their own, not waiting for somebody to give them everything and all that. And he said, I never believed it would be such a hard sell to sell liberty and to sell freedom. You know something, I've been surprised. I always thought that the truth and that life would be something people would want to hear, but people don't want to hear. Scripture says, with Joshua and Moses, I lay before you life and death. Which do you choose? People don't want to hear truth. They would rather hear what they want to hear. It's a sad commentary on our society, but this is talking about Christians. We need to get back to the basics, need to get back to Scripture, not adding things, not taking away, but what does the Scripture say? Instead of this thing, everybody's got their own truth. I pray today that God